Hello everyone, and welcome back to this course. And today we are going to look at this topic, data analysis in Python, part 1. And as we already consider various steps that are involved in data analysis process, and Python is a powerful tool and language. Of course, it can be used in lots of ways to realize all the theoretical parts that we have seen so far. And in this course, I'm not going to teach about the Python programming itself. Rather, I assume that you have some knowledge of Python programming or other programming language. So for actual Python programming, you can refer to other courses. And here we are just going to focus on the data analysis part in Python. And this is the first part of this series of lectures. And today, I'm just going to give you some brief introduction to some of the popular libraries that are available in Python, and they are for data analysis. Let's look at what are the various Python libraries available. Before we go on to that Python library, why do we need these Python library? Well, Python itself is a good programming language and it's becoming very popular. Unlike other programming languages like C++ or Java, Python has been getting full support from all the volunteers and experts and programmers, developers around the world. But it does lack some features. For example, it does not include vectors, matrices, or data frames as a part of its fundamental data type. So in order to realize this problem, or in order to overcome this shortcoming, new libraries were created and they have been added as these data types. So that's where this Python library comes in picture, and there are a lot of contributors to this, and it's still for particular purpose and particular application. A few libraries have been developed for those areas. We are not going to consider each and every libraries. Rather, we are going to consider only very few popular libraries I want to introduce you that would be useful for our data science course. So as of now, we are going to just look at a few points on these libraries. Okay, here it is, Python libraries for data science. As many popular Python toolboxes and libraries are given here. As you can see, NumPy, SciPy, Pandas, scikit-learn, and we do have other visualization libraries like Matplotlib, Seaborn, and in fact, it's kind of a never-ending thing because a lot of developers are still developing their own libraries. A lot of schools, they are working on developing their own libraries for a particular application. Maybe you can think of very specific applications where they are being used. Generally speaking, these libraries that I mentioned here, these toolbox like NumPy, SciPy, Pandas, they are all based on the numerical analysis, and all those things has to do with, most of the things has to do with the machine learning or statistical process, and also for data science. Basically, that's why we are going to focus on these libraries. Okay, let me briefly introduce these libraries. The first one is the NumPy. NumPy is a library for programming language, and this gives us full freedom of using many advanced mathematical and statistical operations on the objects. Like for example, like high dimensional arrays, matrices, or large collection of mathematical functions to operate on the arrays. You can go for NumPy. They are quite easy to be imported to your current platform, and then you can integrate or you can work on with various mathematical functions. And of course, it's a free library. You can go through this numpy.org where you can find more informations about this NumPy. And again, as in this series of data analysis in Python, we would later on see how we can use this NumPy libraries for importing these libraries and working with these libraries. It's one of the basic toolbox or a package or a library that we are going to use for our data science. And some of the other toolbox or other libraries are also imported, or in other words, it's kind of built over this NumPy. Yes, again, this is quite powerful tool for focusing on high-level mathematical functions like matrices and so on. We'll consider more about this on a coming lecture series. Then comes this SciPy. SciPy is it's a toolbox. It's built on this NumPy object, and this is also used for scientific computing and, or in other words, technical computing. So it contains the modules for optimization. Yes, most of the problems that we deal with are always looking for some optimization, right? Are we going to minimize the cost? Minimizing cost again is a kind of optimization function. Yes, most of the problems that we deal with has to do with optimization. And when it comes to large data sets, and then when it comes to mathematically modeling a system, linear algebra is again used for this purpose. And this tool, SciPy, is good for using linear algebras. Yes, there are a lot of mathematical parts involved in linear algebra, whether you're talking about the matrices terms or in eigenvalues, eigenvectors. All this can be realized quite easily. Of course, you can do the whole stuff with basic programming language, but here we have this SciPy tool that can help us to do things quite easily. When it comes to integration, the same thing happens. You have this interpolation functions and other factors that can be easily implemented using this tool, SciPy. And it's very basic tool, because in most of the cases for this fundamental data science, or even like if you want to process a huge amount of data with some integration or functions or other mathematical functions, you can actually go for this package. And this special functions also involves various transforms, like fast Fourier transform is again a powerful mathematical tool, right? Of course, you might already used FFT in your probably in your high school, or at least in some place you might have come across. If not, it's quite easily be realized. It's a good tool to learn about this FFT or other kind of transforms, because in most cases, as we have talked about the data analysis process in one of my previous lectures, one of the main pre-processing tools that we use is for data preparation. In fact, we also go for data manipulation and data transformation. So there are a lot of tools available for data transformation. In terms of mathematical functions, we can easily implement those functions using this SciPy libraries. Yes, for transformation of data. You can think about any kind of transformations. There are a lot of complex things involved in transformation, starting from reduction of high dimensional data into lower dimensions and so on, or transforming a frequency domain into time domain. That's again one of the basic transformation methods. Yes, you can expand keep on expanding these special functions, and all those scientific computing libraries can be easily concised using this SciPy. Again, just to emphasize that this is built on NumPy as a part of NumPy stack. That tools like Matplotlib or Pandas or SumPy and more expanding set of scientific computing libraries are included. So that's a brief thought on the SciPy. Let's move on to the next one. Is about the Pandas. Especially for data analysis purpose, this Pandas is more useful tool. Yes, because it provides tool for data manipulation. That's very important. One of the main thing that you do, right, in data pre-processing. Or if you want to reshape, it's again kind of reshaping the data, merging the data, sorting data, integrating, aggregating the data, slicing the data. So these are some of the very few basic functions that you can easily use using Pandas. If you want to do everything by yourself, it would be quite hard task. That's why we can just import these Pandas library, and then you can use this software library for various data analysis purpose. In particular, it offers data structures and operations for manipulating numerical tables and time series. Lots and lots of data that we deal with in real time has to do with the time series, right? Yes, that's one of the important area in which we might get help from this Pandas library. Yeah, this is indeed is very powerful, and I strongly recommend that you students, you users of this Python libraries, go for Pandas and try to get full benefit from this Pandas. Yes, of course, the other NumPy is also quite useful and powerful, and Pandas is specially designed for data analysis in particular, though other things like SciPy and other things are used for various mathematical and statistical processing. This in particular is quite useful tool. Not only that, as we can see, it can also be used for allowing or handling missing data, right? Yes. So that's one of the very key basics that we have in our data analysis stage, right? So when you get these data, and there are possibilities that some data are lost. It can be any data. For example, consider that you have a list of sales of your product. Say you have a product like a pen and pencil, and you have all the details of their sales for the whole year, and suddenly for one day in a year you don't find the data. Probably you can't just add 0 to that, because you already have some data for the pen and pencil for all the whole throughout the 365 days you have all the data. So in that case you can use a certain mechanism by which you can handle this missing data. And there are occasions you might also come with duplicate data. Yes, there are possibilities, right? The data are repeated or just copied or duplicated. So you may have to deal with these duplication part as well. So anyway, Pandas, we will talk in depth of using Pandas, because Pandas itself can offer lots of support for us as a data scientist. Okay, scikit-learn, it's another tool, and this is designed to interoperate with Python numerical and scientific libraries like NumPy and SciPy. We already touched on NumPy and SciPy, but this is going to give us some more support, and this support basically is more powerful for machine learning purpose. Some things that we have seen so far in our data analysis class is about classification, regression, clustering. Yes, these are some of the very basic machine learning parts, and these can be easily realized when we use this tool scikit-learn. Yes, classification of data. We talked about how to classify, say for example, based on image classification. You can classify the satellite image, and you can see that whether this part of the area or the forest has a wildfire or not. That's a basic classification method, but it's very powerful because it can save lives and it can save huge property loss. Yes, classification, even like based on the reviews that you have for a movie, you can classify whether is this movie has a positive review or negative review. Regression, we have talked about regression in detail. Basically, we want to predict the future. In sense, you have the data. For example, you have data of all your salary of your employers. For example, salary based on their experience. So eventually, you can predict what would be the salary if certain years of experience a person has, or if, for example, you are going to apply for a job and you want to know what is the expected salary in that area. Yes, for that purpose, we talked about regression. And again, coming to clustering part, there are various applications of clustering. All these things like classification, regression, clustering, they are useful for many cases, and especially for like classification and regression, they are kind of supervised learning mechanism, and the clustering, that's an unsupervised learning mechanism. So you are not sure what kind of label you are going to give at the output. So with whatever inputs you get, you are trying to group those data in a set based on the similarity that they have. Based on the similarity between the data, they are clustered together. Well, if you try imagine programming all those stuff, it's quite a hard task. That's why we have this scikit-learn. It's very powerful for helping us to support these features, and that includes like even random forest, that has to be forest, random forest or k-means, support vector machines, and so on. Well, you can have a look at this website as well for your reference. And more to it is this matplotlib. All those things we have seen earlier is kind of analysis part, but this is actually still part of analysis, but it provides you the visualization as well. Yes, matplotlib is a plotting library for this Python programming language, and it's numerical mathematics extension of NumPy. Yes, still we can see that some of the packages and the libraries we have seen is all been stacked up on this NumPy. And myplot is a matplotlib module, which means that most of the package, whether it's NumPy or matplotlib or other packages that we have, they all has some certain modules in it. So for example, this pyplot module provides a MATLAB-like interface. Yes, we know that MATLAB is still a powerful tool, and it has been used by many researchers around the world. But now we can actually have the interface between these two using this module. Yes, matplotlib is designed to be as useful or usable as MATLAB. But now we are going to use this with our Python. That's one of the advantages that we have. And moreover, we know that Python or all other libraries like matplotlib is free. That's one of the advantage as well. Seaborn is other statistical data visualization tool. This can also be more useful as that of this matplotlib. As Seaborn is a Python visualization library based on this matplotlib. It provides high-level interface for drawing attractive statistical graphics. is whenever we see things or whenever we visualize, say, data, you can actually come to the conclusion or get some insight or analyze it quite easily than that of just looking at the data itself. Okay, let's see some points on this matplotlib. What are the things that it can do, like basically, not advanced things. There are a lot of other advanced features of this matplotlib. So here is some examples, like to have a line plot, you have to import this matplotlib, and you are going to use this myplot to plot this line. Moreover, I am not going to details of this. This is actually the programming or the basic commands has been used for this particular line plot. And moreover, I just want to tell you that right now I just want to give you simple introduction. So I am not going to explain all those things now. In other lectures, in the coming series of lectures, I will talk about all these details about this programming. And I just want to tell you, like, yes, matplotlib can be useful for line plots or histograms, and so you have sample structures here. And not only that, we do have a scattered plot. Yes, different types of plots, even pie graph can be done, even box plot can be done. There are a lot of other plots you can think of. It can also deal with 3D plots. Yes. Now you are thinking about MATLAB, don't you? Yes, MATLAB is quite powerful in representing various complex features by means of visual things. Yes, we can come up with the similar things using this powerful visual library, that's matplotlib. We are not going to stop in that. There are still other ways. You can see, like for example, here we have this image plot, and then you have this Condor plot. Yes, here we have more things like polar plot and line plot. Yes, these are some of the applications where we can use this matplotlib. Yes, this is a very brief introduction to introduce about all the libraries that we have in hand, and I am looking forward to go through one by one in a very basic way, so that I can introduce all these libraries. As a data analysis as a whole, I am going to dive into all those data analysis part using Python. We will see specific applications, and let's see how we can go through step by step in Python. So that's all we have for today, and we are looking forward to see you in the next lecture. Yes, have a good time. Bye bye.